can probably read the title of the video. So we're doing that 6 series seasonal game. Just game. I mean set. Just gonna give some thoughts on all the stuff because like this is gonna be. If we tried to stuff this into untier talk, it'd be ridiculous. So we're just gonna do this separately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can.
I think.
You can. I was just gonna say you can tell we're super enthused by our voices.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we've had long days, but
we still want to do this. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and I think this is like the one time where we'll have truly unique insight because it's very rare you'll get the two people in grand finals in a podcast together talking about what happened and all that type of stuff. So this is quite a unique opportunity for, I guess, everybody.
For sure. Oh man, so this was some set. Game 1. I'm gonna put this one from your perspective. So the team I brought was the team I brought versus Ziri.
Mm-hmm.
I like that in Snake Week 2. I like the team a lot. I felt it was a pretty safe thing to start out with. It's a hard team to really start out with a very difficult matchup. So I figured it'd be like the safest start I could bring. But that didn't work.
So yeah, I mean, I'll move on to my team, and I brought the blasphemy that is Scyther, because I think I told you like a bit before we did the set, like at least a few days, that I wasn't taking it that super seriously, right? I'm not taking it as if my life is on the line, so I'm not gonna bring like all the crazy overpowered ones all of the time. So yeah, I mean that changes quite quickly, but I mean I brought the Scyther because I thought if I'm to prove or if I'm to like show that I'm a good builder, or I'm a superior builder, or whatever, I have to try at least to build with Scyther, right? So yeah, I ended up going with this team.
I mean, I think this really is like the best way that you could probably use Scyther, with some like ridiculous surprise wall breakers, some just like really weird things where you've got enough odd stuff that one of these mons between Rotom, Mushy, and Aggron is probably going to have a really good breaking matchup. So Scyther's actually like guaranteed going to be a really useful pivot, because like how could at least one of them not be useful? And then just like,
yeah,
really though, it was the surprise factor on the Silvally that we'll see later that I think that move was what completely ended the game. But
yeah, that's a sexy filler on the Silvally. I'm glad I thought of that like literally 2 minutes before the set. But just wanted to note quickly that the Mushy set, actually, I didn't think it'd get revealed, so I might as well reveal it now.
No, it did not.
It's Trick Room Psyche MZ.
So
it's
the good
exactly
set.
The same as the Jelly. Yeah, it's exactly the same as the Jelly set, except it's got.
Yeah, I mean, I was running that before you started just putting Trick Room Jelly on every team. It's good.
Yeah.
Probably not as good defensively as Trick Room Jelly, but a bit stronger.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the role that it fills in this team, because obviously Scyther is not going to be the most insane cleaner. Even if it's the Choice Scarfer, it's not going to be the most insane cleaner. So making sure that I had some sort of late game win con to scare you with is that was the main intention.
Yeah, I did keep in mind that like I've got a lot of problems here. I kind of need to have Absol. My Torterra is not Stone Edge. Cryo isn't offensive and can't do a lot to Aggron or Eel. Like, my main wall breaker kind of needs to be Victory Bell, but you have exceptionally, like, you have nothing strong counter to it, but you have a lot of really good ways to pivot around it. Like,
yeah,
the whole thing is I need Absol to like potentially revenge things with Sucker Punch. Might be my only way to really revenge well, because Mr. Mime's iffy in this game. But then also like I really need to keep it around for the Mushy. Yeah, I just don't like this, and we'll see very early as I started off. Like most of the early game just has to be you pivoting. I also tried to lead like a really aggressive Absol, predicting you not to lead Scyther, because like I had a Regirock.
Yeah.
But you just figured, I guess, you could just U-turn into Silvally anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
like
like
worst case,
as soon as I get
with
this wrong,
Regirock,
it's just
I go
a
to Silva.
fine. You go first.
Yeah, I was gonna say as soon if you did lead with Regirock, my thinking would be like I just pivot out until sort of click T wave and then just fog again. So I wasn't hugely concerned either way.
Yeah,
But
T
yeah,
Wave is
speaking,
definitely going to do its thing at some point. So
yeah, yeah. Just also quickly before we move like super far into the game, this team is sort of like a vortex team where we'll see as like the game goes on. Like as soon as you give up momentum in like one turn for like one play, it transitions throughout the next like 10 turns. You'll see like it's super
yeah,
hard for you to regain it.
this is like I think this is obviously the biggest possible extension where it would never really have like this much momentum, but yeah, it ends up just being such a huge problem for me that like I can't really use Tort or Absol or Vic well at all. And we'll see. So like I lead Absol, I get that wrong, and it immediately like kind of has to turn into a lot of pivoting because I can really like the ways that I would want to grab momentum back don't work at all because turn 2 my cryogonal's paralyzed, and that like even though it's Spadef, that should have been my biggest thing to hit buttons versus you. I'm not really afraid of Aggron all that much. Eel coming in, like, I'll deal with that. Cryo is probably the safest mon to just, like, hit buttons with. And now it also is, like, much worse versus Rotom. Turning Rotom from, like, not that good versus my team, to be honest. Like, it's fine, but it's not amazing. To, oh, now this is, like, a massive, serious threat that I can't really do much about. Like this I think is really the critical thing that turned it from not a great matchup to just I'm kind of fucked.
Yeah, that's I guess the idea that goes behind like Sylvania Water is that you gain so much out of T waving. Just that the stuff in the higher end of the speed tiers, not necessarily like stuff as fast as Cryo, although that's gonna be something that you T wave a lot, but more so like Absol we'll see later gets T-Wave. Like you can T-Wave Stoutlands, Kangaskhan's. Like really a lot of things that can aid in Aggron not being super like played out of the game. Like we'll see at the end, like after Torterra and Regirock bite the dust. Like Aggron becomes super like a big threat.
I mean, at that point, like the game was over whether you had Aggron or not. I don't think Aggron, like it can support Aggron, but honestly, I think the bigger thing here is that like Cryo is just naturally going to be the switch into this, and that just boosts Rotom so much. Although I guess like if I was trying to pivot in Vic, that would have been better for Aggron. So yeah, like he's going to paralyze me, he's going to parting shot, and then I think this really just immediately turns into a lot of pivoting. Like, here's Eel. I kind of have to go Regirock because I need my Cryo. Oh, no, he U-turned. Well, I do intentionally let my Regirock get weakened for the Toxic. In hindsight, I don't know about this play on turn 5. Like, I figured I really kind of need to remove this now because I can't stop you from pivoting at all, and it's just a big issue, but... And my plan was to eventually Healing Wish with Mime. I don't know. Maybe letting Regirock, like maybe not taking the hit would have been better. But this is just hard. I don't have a lot of places to go.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, at least when I was looking at preview, I thought the only way I really lose this game, if I get to play how I want to play, is if you Toxic Sylvally, get loads of healing up your Regirock again with Mr. Mime, get Stealth Rocks up for good.
Exactly.
And then Absol goes to town. Like that's the only way that I could foreseeably see myself losing that matchup.
Were you not also defog as filler on Rotom?
Yeah, defog was filler on Rotom, but okay. I mean like I want to use Rotom to do other things, not just
the plan was like maybe I Toxic this volley, weaken it somehow, Healing Wish Regirock, set Stealth Rock, make the Rotom defog, pursued him with Band Absol. Then like maybe that will lead to something. But my win con, like, and then like once I have rocks up, then Rock Polish Torterra is like kind of a win con because now the like lacking Stone Edge isn't really a problem for Scyther. And then even then you still have Mishana in the back. It's just hard. So this is kind of my game plan. It's not going to go super far. I really did want to stay in on the Sylvally as you parting shot when I go Vic, but I did not have the balls to do that. It's a shame too. I knock off the eel, but like my cryo is already paralyzed. And then this is the turn where we also see it's modest specs Rotom. Oh no,
It's not modest. It's timid.
it's timid specs Rotom. I don't know why I said modest. Oh no, I did think it was modest later because the roll on Regirock was so high the calc said timid wouldn't work, and I never figured out why. Like
It was definitely timid.
I had to assume it was timid after because that's the only thing that makes sense. But like at the very end of the game, you'll see me make a play that only makes sense if like the calc says you like only modest does enough. Anyway, we'll get to that. This is just so much pivoting because my ways of getting out of momentum, like they can't really be cryo or anything. It kind of has to be Torterra and going back to Regirock, which gets me so little. But I have nothing else. Like I really do have nothing. Eventually I'm like, okay, you'll defog, I'll go Absol, I'll take the hit or whatever and just like be able to get a knockoff, and that's probably the best thing I can do. And like I do get rid of the Silvally, so it's not all bad. But even then, it's just kind of too late to do a lot, and I lose the like 50-50 that I probably should have gone cryo, but then you'd get an aggron. I didn't want that, so.
Yeah. I also think, when you go back to the turn, like, I sacked Silvally. I made the conscious effort to not give up momentum to Regirock. I knew that if I wanted to win the game, how to not choke it would be to constantly keep up momentum and not let Regirock get a free turn to get Stealth Rock up and also live. That was the biggest concern to me. As long as Regirock died whilst trying to set up Stealth Rock, that's all that I really cared about at that, because that means Scyther pretty much won the game. So I say Scyther would have won the game. I mean, anything would have won the game at that point. But Scyther in particular was looking like my go-to thing. I just needed to keep it out of the Absol range, which is why I T-waved it earlier on, so I could also use Aggron as a check potentially.
Yeah. On going Torterra, I suppose like I would maybe I had a better chance if I'd gotten every 50-50 with the Rotom completely right. I went Torterra because I really did think you were going to like try to not mix it up and Volt again, but also if you Blizzarded, my Torterra is really not all that useful, so I was okay with it being like the sacrifice there. But like in hindsight after that, maybe I needed to have the Volt immune for like a later 50-50, but I can't really feel too bad about a play like that, I don't think. You also get me doubling here completely right. I don't really regret that play on turn 17. Like, I have to try. I don't really have a choice. If you get momentum on cryo, that's like also game ending, as would you have, as like hitting Blizzard on turn 17 would have ended my game. But if I hit freeze dry and you went to Aggron, I was also just totally fucked. So I can't really regret that. But yeah, oops.
Yeah, like from my perspective at least, like what do I lose if I just click Blizzard, try and fish for you, trying to like, this is just about me.
What's the worst thing? You take an HP fire? Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it doesn't. Like I have to go cryo, and then you're just going to be able to U-turn and stuff, and not a lot is going to go my way.
Yeah, and also here's where the big thing with the paralysis comes in around turn 20. Like, I got the Volt Switch fast, which means I could go into EF, basically force or see if you're going to stay in the first. So now that Torterra is gone, I can just freely get momentum on cryo every time.
Yeah, plus like if cryo could chip Rotom, I'd have a lot more tangible benefit to setting up Stealth Rock. But like even if cryo gets off the hit, until I know I can get Stealth Rock, it just doesn't mean a ton.
Exactly.
Like if I have rocks and I have a faster cryo, Rotom's just gonna die all that much faster. Eventually, I don't actually entirely remember how this sequence ends up. I think I just end up sacking Victory Bell. Yeah, okay. I thought I had sacked Victory Bell earlier. Okay, so I sack Victory Bell. I do the Healing Wish. I go Regirock. I'm like, okay, I can Stealth Rock because Timid Blizzard doesn't do... Oh, no, I Drain Punch, and I'm like, okay, I can Stealth Rock. Timid Blizzard doesn't actually do that much. And then it ends up doing 70. I get really, really confused. The calc said I could Drain Punch it back, and I still have no idea why. But yeah, the Specs Rotom just like is going to 2-hit KO me despite Drain Punch recovery, so nothing matters. That was why I made that play. In the end, like I wasn't winning the game regardless, but that was just me like doing a calc fuck up.
Yeah, the only way you ended up winning that potential sequence is if
You had to miss a ton of blizzards. Like there was no point in even me killing you with a rock move at that point. Like it's too late. I'm almost certainly going to lose this game. You needed to miss every blizzard. I need to set stealth rock and then be able to drain punch back up to 100, and then maybe I can do something. That's it.
Yeah. Because one blizzard puts you in aggron range, and then aggron.
Yeah. Instead, like I die to blizzards and I forfeit, and that's fair. I don't have too many regrets. This was just you bringing a cool thing that I definitely wasn't going to be able to handle, which happens.
Yeah.
All right, well, game 2 is an even sillier thing.
Yeah.
But honestly, this matchup really, really annoyed me because this team I'm using is an edited early version of the thing I brought versus Lockjaw week 1, but instead of that being like a CB skunk type thing, this is using Subtoxic Lapras, which is a mon I find genuinely fun and really stupid, but can be like incredibly annoying when you're forcing out Jellicents and Mudsdales and whatnot, and then you're just being like a really fat max HP Lapras and you just sub-tech Toxic Freeze Dry. It's really annoying. But versus your team, it only checks one Pokemon, and you have like really, really good checks for it. And my Lapras just doesn't get to do anything, and I was really sad because without it, like for as silly as your team is, being like, haha, this Dibs Wigglytuff thing, it really doesn't match up all that terribly.
Yeah, I mean, when I was looking at the matchup, at least I was pretty confident in handling pretty much everything. This is the first time in history where I've had 3 checks to Lurantis ever, so it's like pretty good that too.
Lurantis is just ugh.
Yeah, Lurantis tends to be one of the haha, I'm going to beat HJAD doing this, right, ones. But now I have 3 checks to it, so that was quite funny.
Honestly, it was just a coincidence. I was bringing this because of the Lapras, but it ended up like it's not all good for you. I don't think it's super winning. If your Raichu had been Nasty Plot, that would have been a big deal. Simisear obviously kind of kills things if I get a Grass Knot play right on the Gastro.
Yeah.
And then like
that was
having Kangaskhan is useful because your switch-in is a dumb slug. So that's something. Yeah. But your T-Spikes, you didn't have T-Spikes. If you were T-Spikes, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, just check. I think the big thing for me at least was just I was scared as shit of Simisear. So like I was playing as if it was offense, which is like weird when you have a fat team like this. I was playing it as if it was offense, and I had to play it as if it was offense. Otherwise, I lost to the thing.
Right, like it's still big useful here, so it's not really all that bad. I think the start of this game like really already had me kind of confused. I fake out. I only do 19, so I'm like maybe I'll get some chip as you immediately rock, and then Gastro only takes 40, which I didn't really expect it to be full Fizz Def, normal resist type thing. I thought your plan was just losing to normals, to be completely honest.
No, it's not that. Yeah, Dibs is a good builder. Dibs does things right.
Anyway, that wasn't
the good Gastro.
Well, I mean, it loses to Stoutland. Anyway, that wasn't my confusing bit. My confusing bit was like when you immediately doubled out with Gastro on my Lurantis. Because on one hand, like early on, this is a really huge like momentum boon for you've scared out my Kanga. You've got you've got the Pom Pom in, which is pretty annoying. But in terms of long term, not having Gastro being able to switch into Kanga is going to be kind of huge. So this kind of ended up being really big. But like you said, you were playing it like offense, so I kind of get the idea.
Yeah, and for me, at least especially, I was just trying to keep up the the rocks pressure, so that you couldn't defog for free with Lurantis on the Gastro, but also like in case you harded into Simisear, I didn't want to deal with losing him onto Simisear, so I might as well lose Gastro or a bit of HP on Gastro and then sack stuff to Kanga later.
Yeah.
So like, I'm less scared of Kanga than I was Simisear.
Yeah, and if you have rocks up, Simisear is obviously just much more neutered. So the big double happens. I try going Carbink, not knowing if you're toxic on your pom pom. Not knowing if you're taunt on your pom pom. I knew you were definitely going to be toxic because I remember that from the Dibs team, but I wasn't sure if it was old enough to where it'd be toxic or Ikorio, or if you'd like update the set. And it ends up not being that, right? Like this is
it's defog.
Yeah, it's defog. But a lot of my game is like trying to play around taunt. So I double into Lapras thinking maybe you'll taunt as you get Roselia in, which is really bad for me. Like, honestly, maybe I should have doubled Simisear. This turn really, really hurt. But yeah, I end up going into Kanga and taking the early Giga Drain chip, and that just kind of sucks. But then I 2-KO Gastrodon, so I'm happy again.
Yeah. I just had to sack Kanga there. Like there wasn't really much I could do. But yeah, I was playing for the late game with Raichu or Drifblim, so to be honest, it was like this was going to happen. I'm just going to have to like speed up the process again, play offensively.
Yeah.
Stay to the game plan.
So anyway, I go Carbink. I'm kind of letting it get a bit chipped, like just for a Moonblast, which is scary. Like rocks would have been so much better, but again, I still like really am not sure if you're taught, and I don't want to lose much momentum. So instead, I make a bad play, and like now Roselia is in for free again, which is just not something I should have let happen. And I just sack Sableye. I'm like, okay, I don't need Sableye. I'm going to let him hit me, and then maybe I'll eject button, or maybe I'll die to a different switch in. I'm just going to death fodder my Sableye. I don't know what you were thinking about that though.
Which time?
Like around turn 12, I just go hard Sableye and then let it die.
Oh yeah. No, Sableye for me was like I get a free Dazzling Gleam versus the team that doesn't have a Dazzling Resist. So modest Wigglytuff with competitive like is pretty good breaker versus you. So
yeah,
that was Sableye was basically like a momentum drain for you. So you had to sack it basically.
Yeah, like I'm in a really bad position. Spikes and rocks hurt this team. I have a Lapras and a Simisear. I'm like, okay, I'll taunt the Wiggly. I'll let Sableye die. I'll go Lurantis. I'll defog. He'll kill me. He's competitive. That's fine. I don't care. Like, I'll just do that. You end up missing Fire Blast, which I think meant I could just save Lurantis instead of letting it die. I don't know if like that was if the chip on Simisear might have been preferable to you though, to be completely honest.
I thought that the chip with Simisear probably would have happened regardless. It depends really on whether you wanted to keep the Lurantis at like 10%. So I think you would have just sacked them. But to be honest, Simisear was
like I don't know if you prefer like me having the weakened Simisear but still Lurantis, or if Simisear was at 100 but no Lurantis. Either way, like, I think it just meant it's a bit of a change.
It just meant more 50s in the late game, to be honest, because I think Drifblim can tank a Fire Blast and Raichu can tank a Fire Blast after a Celebrate. So I wasn't too concerned about Simisear, but I was still wary of it. So it could have gone either way.
Yeah. Oh, I just hit the reset button by accident. That's why I don't check my phone. Okay, let me get back to where we were. So Lurantis dodges, I go Simisear, I take the chip, you sack Roselia, because at this point, like, you're playing offense, and even though it's really annoying, it's still, like, the slow, frail thing, so, yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't really much use in getting spikes either, so, like, Roselia was the most sackable thing.
Mm-hmm. And then Raichu...
Although it did mean... did mean that Carbink was actually quite...
Yeah, it does boost Carbink a lot. But I figured, okay, he's going to be like the nasty plot Raichu, and his plan is just like to break Carbink that way. So when Raichu comes in, I don't really know what you are, but I don't need Lurantis anymore. Like, it loses to everything, so I figure it's the safest mon to just like, okay, let Lurantis die, get my Kanga back in. And then you end up like really weak Psyshock chipping me down, which had me thrown. I didn't entirely understand why this was happening and what the Raichu was. And that's like kind of why I make the ultra safe just fake out as you go Rocky Helmet Pom Pom, and I'm getting like no momentum. And then you get like the double with Wigglytuff on Carbink, and that all sucks. Like honestly, like the just slow Psyshock chipping that looked really bad scared me into doing this, which I'm not proud of.
Yeah, I guess the plan was the reason why I clicked Psyshock in the first place was to catch a double. Like that was the primary reason, because I was thinking, okay, I have two checks to the Lurantis. There's loads of like, I guess, efficiency that you can get if you like put Carbink in um, versus the Oricorio. So I was thinking, I'm gonna lose momentum if I switch. So I'm just gonna attack and hope he misses, or like attack and just see what happens. Because at the end of the day, I didn't really need Raichu at a super ridiculous amount of HP, just enough to abuse the Carbink.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what Dibs told me before the game when I told him I wanted to use it, because the only scenario that I used this team was if I won game one with Scyther, I would have brought this team. Any other scenario, I don't bring this team. So Dibs told me that I was like more concerned about setting Raichu up. Like I was thinking, oh, how are you going to set up such a frail mon even with Decelerate? Everybody has a team with 1 to 2 mons which are like shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in your case, in this team, it was Carbink and Sableye. So my mind was fixated on those two. Those were my main Raichu setup opportunities. And as soon as you sacked Sableye, it just turned into Carbink. That was my main utility for.
I mean, you could have also totally set up on Lapras, but like no one would assume that because they're normally specs or something, not zero special attack lefties.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which again, it's such a fun set, and I'm so sad it did nothing. HJAD brings like the T-Wave Sableyes and the Quad Ices and whatever, and then like my biggest haha thing just does nothing, and I swear it's really not that bad. It's like the end of Oras when I was like, okay, Perish Trap Lapras is actually good, guys. Start using this. It's the same cycle. Anyway, Wiggly's in. I'm just like, we can trade rocks now. That's fine. And then I realize I don't have a check, so I'm just going to let Lapras die to Wigglytuff. But I fuck up, and I didn't realize that you'd be Ayapapa, and I triggered that. That was bad.
Yeah.
Like, if I Toxic Protected and then Freeze Dried, I could have had the momentum. That just, like, didn't really occur to me. When I saw no item, I didn't even think. I was like, maybe it's something dumb, like Helmet, or no, you couldn't have been Helmet. Like, I don't know. I should have guessed that, because what else would it be? But that was definitely a fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, Wigglytuff really isn't that bad of a Pokemon. Like, it's actually quite good if you think about it as like an offensive rocker that can somewhat pressure teams defensively, but also provide like a fairy type and a normal type at the same time. It's honestly not that bad. And
yeah, my biggest thing would be like there's so many things that you go, oh, if I mistakenly put Wigglytuff out against this Pokemon, I now need like some kind of defensive switch, or else like the plan once I sack Wigglytuff, because it seems very easy to lead with it, and then they just like tossed out their Stoutland or whatever. It's like, oh. What do?
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's gonna be the case for a lot of like the tier has loads of Fizdef rockers in that bracket where you have like Mudsdale, Regirock, like Aggron, all of those.
Right. It's like when you try to use something offensive like Golurk, it just gets so weird.
Yeah, exactly. So like there's like loads of ifs and buts when you use Wigglytuff, and things that you have to trade away. But I mean, it's pretty good as an offensive rocker.
It doesn't seem like the worst. It doesn't seem like, I don't know. It's not like Slacking tier. Actually, Slacking, they're a lot worse. It's not like Watchog tier. It's more like, I don't know, Ninjask tier. It's like, this could be a lot worse. Even if it's not like ranked or considered great.
Yeah, I still think, honestly, that Ninjask is probably still one of the most underrated Pokemon in the tier. Like, underexplored, underrated, everything above people haven't tried it.
Moving on. I gotta go Kangaskhan to revenge you, which puts me in a really awkward position, because at this point, like, I don't have that many more switch-ins. You've got the Helmet Pom-Pom. So, like, even though the plan the whole time had been to keep Kangaskhan for late game, and that's gonna be my Alolan Raichu check, when you go Drifblim, I'm like, alright, maybe I can do this. I just have to double edge you. We'll both go down, and then Carbink can hopefully trade with Raichu, and hopefully your Pom-Pom's not taunt, and hopefully that'll all work out.
Yeah.
And I guess your plan was Raichu beating Carbink, I assume.
Yeah. I assumed all my eggs in one basket that your Carbink was not rest. Like anything but rest, please. That
Well,
was the plan.
even if I wasn't rest at this point, it wouldn't have mattered.
What do you mean?
Pom Pom would have been in range of Blaze Simisear. Even if I wasn't, I'm not fiery him, but that also could have come in. But like, Pom Pom would have died. Pom Pom would have died to Simisear. So rest Carbink, I don't think matters at the end here.
Yeah, but if I manage to kill Raichu with your Carbink or versus your Carbink, then I just kill the Simisear. I don't
No, if Raichu beats Carbink, yeah, but I didn't need rest.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't use rest to beat Raichu. Okay, anyway, the irony here is you're at 30%. That's even without the Z Celebrate. It's a roll for me to kill you. That is slightly in your favor. So if you were just Nasty Plot stoked Spark Surfer, you would have beat Carbink.
Yeah.
Because Carbink's Moonblast doesn't do 30% to an Alolan Raichu, which is mind-boggling. When I calc this, I was like, oh, fuck, did I really screw this up? Because I didn't check if Carbink could do 30% to an Alolan Raichu with a fucking 95 base power stab attack. Anyway, I was really just like, oh my fucking god. But then you ended up being Z Celebrate and I won.
yeah, that ended up happening. I'll go back to a misplay that I made after the game, but yeah, I mean...
Well, the game is over. Like,
unfortunate.
Carbink kills the Raichu. Yeah. You try to roost up and hope I'm not rest, which I respect. Like, if you Hurricane... Well, I guess if you Hurricane, you have to hit 2 Hurricanes and dodge my Fire Blast, which doesn't even work if I'm Fiery him. So, like, I respect just going for roost, because if I'm not rest, like, if I'm Toxic Protect or something... Totally fair play. People are like, oh my god, HJAD didn't Hurricane. I don't. Why? Like, no. This is fine.
Yeah, no, that was a losing play. It was a losing play to Hurricane. But yeah, I want to go back to turn. Let me see which turn it was. It was a turn where you double-edged my Drifblim. And I think this was my biggest misplay the entire game. Because Drifblim was still useful in this game. Like, I could have taken the Stealth Rocks damage with Drifblim and then made what may have seemed like a inefficient play, like my brain thought it was inefficient to go back into Oricorio, and then Kanga dies anyway.
So you're saying go Drifblim, sack Oricorio, so Kangaskhan and Oricorio go down. Now your Drifblim is going to automatically get Leichy. Okay, so yeah, if you did that, and then you went Raichu, I would have had to rest on it with Carbink, because I would have needed Carbink healthy enough.
Yeah, but you see, this is a Calm Mind Citrus Blim, Max Modest special attack. So potentially, and the calc in theory, it 1v1s the car.
Are you Subcombined?
Yeah, sub.
Yeah, so that would have 1v1'd Carbink, and that probably would have won, yeah. My thought was, like, if you doubled Oricorio, I need you to not be Nasty Plot plus Z Celebrate, because then that would, like, beat the Carbink after I rest.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, Subcombined also would have done it.
Yeah.
I don't...
See, the reason why... Yeah. The reason why I didn't end up making that play was because in my head it was inefficient, right? Because usually you're not told to, like, switch around on the Stealth Rock, right? Like, that's not a good way to use your Pokemon. But what I didn't realize was by switching about with my Pokemon, I could have activated Citrus Berry and just, like, automatically stopped Simisear from being too useful versus the rest of my things. Whereas Pom Pom was just basically useless in this case. Like, Pom Pom really wasn't doing anything of that much value for my team at, like, by 2029.
Yeah, okay, I definitely got bailed there. For my part, when I look back for what I could have done, I definitely think, like, if I had just not saved Lurantis and pivoted in Simisear, I'm still the Flame Charge Simisear set we saw versus Lockjaw, and I could have abused that if I just not chipped myself. So, like, in the short term, I save my Lurantis, it ends up being death fodder for Raichu, chipping it later. But, like, Flame Charge actually sweeps your team pretty nicely. At worst, it'll force out the Drifblim and get rid of any unburdened shenanigans, and then that's also pretty nice. So, by chipping that, I feel like I just, like, neutered my late game gameplay, and had, like, with you going Drifblim, I don't really think I had any counterplay or any other way to win. I needed you to, like, not do something like that, because I just screwed up my options early on.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't until, like, the game was done where I was like, oh shit, that was a really, like, shit play. I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, I mean, it's what happens. Like sometimes you don't have like you're not looking in the correct places for your win con, and yeah, you lose the game because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
So
otherwise, I think it could be very easy to fixate, like from my perspective, on like the Fire Blast miss and be like, oh, that Fire Blast miss sucked so much. Like, yeah, I could have had the Dead Durantis and a full health Raichu, and everything would have been fine for that game. But I mean, like, when it comes down to it, when you're in the position to win, you should always win. Like, it doesn't matter what means you got there by, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. This was honestly like such an interesting game for being the one where our teams are memeier. I really
Yeah,
think this might be my favorite game of the set. Might probably would have been even more
yeah,
favorite if you had won with the blimp, just because that would have been really cool, even if I lost it. But maybe not, because we'll see the other games and maybe they're more fun. Uh, this next one, oh man, this is a game. I bring the team I brought
yeah,
versus Star earlier that day. I had been planning to use this one game one, and then I just fucked up so badly with it versus Star that I decided to save it for game three instead until I could like see where I was at. But I'm like, okay, I kind of need a win. I still really like this team. If I just don't make a really stupid play, then it can still do some solid stuff. So I'm just gonna bring it and see what's
yeah.
up.
Yeah, so my thoughts was when I was in the team building process, like I built most of these teams the day of the game, if not like the day before, like in my head at least. So this was one of the teams that I theorized where it's like double CB, break core plus cleaner jettison. But I saw this exact team in like the replay theater, and I was like, he's surely not going to bring this. He got smoked using this team, so I wasn't really thinking too much. Of course, I watched the replay and I learned the sub punch, or it was sub punch at the time, a bomber snow.
Yeah, it's still sub
I was
punch
like,
of almost no.
yeah, yeah. So that's why you'll see some of the plays that I make aren't necessarily like the plays you'd expect somebody to make. But yeah, this would. I guess it concerned me that you brought this team, but I was sort of quietly because my jettison in this game was looking super good. Like if I got stealth rocks up, jettison was looking really good. If I just got a chip on a few mons, so and getting set up wasn't too much of an issue either. So yeah, this game I was even though I wasn't like hugely like it wasn't hugely free, I was still confident I could take the game even though um, you know individual things on my team weren't looking too great.
Yeah, I like when you saying like I wouldn't bring this because I got smoked. I really had to talk myself into like, no, it's pretty clear that I got smoked because I made just like one really god awful play. I don't think it's the team.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's a
that was really just like why I did it. I didn't want to lose faith in this team that I still think is really cool. Maybe not the best at abusing the fact that literally no one runs ice resists, but like a really funny concept that I just wanted to keep on pushing. I don't think the matchup's too crazy. You don't have any of the mons that would like absolutely like make Hale's life really annoying, but like you're also not that bad versus Hale, which is really weird because normally it's just a strict one way or the other, but it actually feels pretty evenish to me. Like Hale and Obama and Omastar can be pretty threatening, but so can Stoutland and Absol. So yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So yeah, my early positioning in this game was like, okay, if I can knock off the Mudsdale, Stoutland does work.
Yeah,
So that was
and you can knock off the Mudsdale, like definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the idea. Like turn like early game and then end game. It was obviously get Jettison to come in, trick room, and then clean up whatever's left.
Yeah, and that's definitely a fair plan, especially with the what set you ended up being. But just to start it off, so I'm gonna lead Altaria because I keep getting leads wrong every single time, and it's just like my thing now. It's just what I do.
When I was like an up and coming player, like 4, 5, 6 years ago, I used to get every single lead matchup wrong. But I don't think I've got a lead matchup wrong in quite a while now. So it was quite good.
I'm normally a bit better than this, but this set was not the set for me to. Anyway.
Maybe it was just because we knew each other so well.
Yeah, okay, so here's Mudsdale getting knocked off turn 2. Hey, would you look at that? Absol and Stoutland are pretty scary Pokemon. Like, I'm fine with it. I have to let it happen, but... Yeah. And then I just, like, fuck it. I'm going to let Mudsdale get chipped even more just to get those rocks, because I really want rocks versus your team.
Yeah. I'm the exact opposite. I really don't want rocks, because rocks basically means that I can't break freely with... Stoutland, Absol, or even use Jeff like that well. Like, you can stop me from doing a lot of things if you manage to get rocks up. So I'm desperate to keep them off at all costs.
Yeah, like, I was absolutely willing to leave my Bunsdale 10% immediately just for them. By the way, just a quick thing. Originally, like, I was thinking of making the Silvally back into Fairy instead of Poison, because my team's pretty okay versus Victory Bell, what with the Spidef Altaria and the Alola Slash with the Hail, and the Victory Bell has no switch-ins. But I left it mostly because I thought, wait, Eel not being able to heal itself with Giga Drain is actually really fucking nice for this team. So that's a small thing I think people should appreciate, is having like Giga Drain Eel switch-ins specifically. Just a thought. My building process is weird, so maybe you totally disagree. Anyway, I do think it's pretty funny that you basically like killed both my Muds and my Silvally. Like, they're pretty dead by turn 9, just for me to get rocks and like a bit of Eel chip, and that's it. And I don't even keep the rocks. I just chip the Rotom instead. I just thought this whole thing was really funny. But like, it's kind of working for me a little bit. Like, I've got good Eel and Rotom chip, and I do end up getting rocks anyway because of the Volt misplay. And
yeah, I don't think it was a misplay, honestly. Like, when I was
the misprediction, I guess.
Like, yeah, I think when I was in that position, my thought process was, okay, I'm going to click Volt because you're not going to go into Mudsdale, clearly. But I thought you were going to go into like either a Lotus Slash or like a Bomber Snow or something, even Silvally, like just stay in with Silvally, so that you can keep Mudsdale as still like that mental towards the end game where it might get a bit more dicey. So I didn't expect you to just hard sack it, and then I would never have to worry about rocks ever again if I click Blizzard. You know what I mean? much like with Tort, I figured it's a little bit of a kind of 50-50-ish, but I can lose Mudsdale, and that's okay. It's fine it'll be fine if I don't have a Mudsdale. I can go Omastar, and I can chip the Jellicent or kill the Eel, and I'm pretty cool with that. So let's just, fuck it. And also, if you Volt, I will get so much off of it, I will be very happy. I didn't know how much I was getting off of it, but it turns out quite a lot, because you owe your own Muds, because like, okay, well, now that rocks are up, I better get mine up. And then I just dodge a Rock Slide, which is just really, really big for this game. Yeah, I think, because if I hit the Rock Slide, basically, or I continue to hit Rock Slides,
the upshot is you're not losing Eel. Yeah. At this point, I kill Muds and then I kill Eel, and you can't stop that. Like, you have to sack two things. Rotom is dead to rocks. It fundamentally alters the game in a big way for you not to have Eel as both pivot and fodder. But like, obviously, I get a full extra kill that I just wouldn't have had that big.
Yeah, and that basically changed my game plan from I'm trying to like chip everything down and wait for the game to finish, and then win with Jellicent, right? Or the mid game to finish and then win with Jellicent. To okay, everything's gone out of the window now. I'm just going to go into Jellicent and try and clean as soon as possible, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my like fundamental thought process when I was trying to stop the Bomber Snow. Whereas if the Bomber Snow didn't dodge, you could have played the game out a bit more and maybe got Jellicent into a bit of a better position.
Right. It's not like, oh, I hacked my way out of a game I wasn't losing. And it's not even what we'll see is like, oh, I get luck and I immediately like auto win a game that would have been even. It's an even weirder situation because Jellicent is still going to be really dumb. But like, it's not auto winning a game that I shouldn't have won, but it's like it's giving me a strong advantage in what would have been a pretty even thing. Like
Yeah, exactly. And
this, it's
tech,
Mons is sometimes Mons, and it'll definitely be Mons later
yeah,
too. So
yeah, 100%. And I think the key thing here is that okay, now Abomasnow gets forced out by the Stoutland. I deliberately let you what's it called? Kill Stoutland in return for Shell Smashing, so that basically I can get Jellicent set up for not free, but like you know what I mean, like
for sure.
I can do things now, like with Jellicent. I can set up my Trick Room and then I kill the.
I knew that was going to have to be like you didn't have another play. So yeah, I killed the eel. He goes Stoutland. He kills Muds. I decided to go Omastar and just smash on it, and I figured he'll either sack Stout and then set up with Jelly, or he'll hard Jelly and opt not to chip Omastar. Either way, I'm getting Jellicent chip, which is all I want. But what's really critical here is what happens after you Trick Room, and I'm just gonna go hard at Altaria, and you end up being Ice Beam, which obviously I don't expect that.
Yeah, I mean I had seen enough evidence to see that people knew that I liked Trick Room Jellicent, right? A lot of people knew that I liked this mono a lot. So one of the most common ways of dealing with Jellicent in general are like Dramper, Dragons, and like Backgrasses. So like Lurantis, Servine, along those lines, right? So quick, easy way for me to just like circumvent all of that shenanigans, especially with the bulky grasses, like I don't have a grass resist, right? Is to just run Icium and just kill them. Like, I don't kill the other things that you don't expect to check Trick Room Lurantis, and then you do damage versus the grasses and that type of stuff. So yeah, in the calc it said that Ice Beam from Max Modest Jellicent would kill Altaria. So I just thought I didn't need to click Icium. I wanted to save Icium for the Abomasnow, which was in my mind more capable of tanking a hit. So yeah, I just iced Altaria, hoping it would die, so that I could end up like at least coming close to winning the game. But yeah, what ended up happening is that the Altaria tanked, which is
it's a roll. It is a roll not in my favor, but not like a 2% chance, but like a 20 something, I believe. Right?
Yeah, I didn't count I think max HP, so I think you needed to have some Spidef.
No, I was Spidef. I was like lots of Spidef calm, like this analysis spread, like 160 calm or something.
Yeah, I thought 100% you'd be Fizdef because that's your defogger. So I thought you'd be 100% like you'd be like trying to roost on like Regirox and stuff. Like that would be really helpful maybe. So I was convinced that you'd be Fizdef. So that's why I just clicked Ice Beam. I didn't think even too much about killing it or not. I just wanted to click Ice Beam on the fact that you were Fizdef alone.
Mm-hmm. Now, for the record, just so people know the calcs, another thing the Rock Slide miss. Oh no, that wouldn't change anything. Abomasnow does live a modest Jellicent Shadow Ball after rocks. You did need to save the Icium for me. Had you killed Altaria with this, then that would have been something. But like, if you had Iciumed Altaria, I would have gone Abomasnow lid to hit and just won.
Yeah, so that for me at least
you did need to do that.
Play.
Had you not, had you actually killed Altaria, leaving you with 2 Trick Room turns, but me with the dead Altaria, I think what would have happened, though, is still, I sack Silvally, then I sack Abomasnow, I get Hail up, I've got 4 turns as Sandslash dies, I think I still win, as far as I can tell, off that sequence.
So yeah, basically the scenario that was going through my head was I had to try and force the win first of all. So like this is obviously isn't an ideal position for me. So I was coming from behind, but if I had killed the Altaria, the plan was basically just try and stop your things from winning as much as possible. You probably would have ended up sacking, as you said, the Silvally and then the Abomasnow, then killed the Jellicent, because the plan was, for me at least, if you went Lotus Slash, I had Trick Room up and then I click. So hope I get Cursed Body or whatever. So I think the only play for me was to kill all of your other things. You try and solo with a Lotus Slash, but whatever move you click gets curse bodied, and then Absol can kill something. But I
Yeah,
still
and
needed
like,
like a crit, I think.
but like, I don't need to icicle crash you. That's the move I need to kill Absol, and I don't need to icicle crash you. Even if I didn't have knockoff, I would have earthquaked. So it just,
Yeah,
yeah, like I don't really think you had the space. But regardless, like I do end up getting the roll, and then what happens is just
yeah,
a pretty safe uh, direction for victory, where basically the same thing happens anyway. Like my things die, I let you kill Abomasnow, and then Sandslash wins because Rotom's like dead to rocks instead of being full health or something.
yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Like the early miss just gave me so much extra death fodder that I was just kind of safe here, sans a sucker punch crit.
Yeah. I think the Absol set that I used in this set was pretty cool. Like I was theorizing around like knockoff Sucker Punch, Play Rough, Iron Tail. So it's dual lure CB Absol.
See, what I've been
Right.
thinking of for dual lure is actually just dropping sucker. I've been messing around with that on CB Absol and CB Skunk.
Yeah. But the thing is, on this team, I had Stoutland, so I just ran Pursuit on the Stoutland. Didn't really even need the Pursuit on the Absol
No,
because
yeah,
it would
for
be
sure.
redundant. So yeah, I could just run Sucker Punch, hold that like counter offensive threat, like versus
Mhm.
more frail things, and then you get the dual lure from Play Rough and Iron Tail.
Yeah. So now, let's get into the very quickest game, but first we're going to take a brief break. So yeah, I'm back, and we're ready to talk about like the shortest game. I bring this team that's been sampled. I've spammed it in a lot of seasonals. HJAD has access to every set because I like it. I didn't expect to get to a second set. I didn't necessarily like think I had enough good teams for a full 6-game set if it came to that. So I just wanted to immediately win as fast as possible, and this team has just been super reliable for me. Like I said, undefeated in the tournament. I've been using a lot in seasonal. I beat Ryza and Teddy and LST and whoever else. So I'm like, okay, I'll just still run with this, even though he like knows my shit.
Yeah, yeah. As it turns out, later in the game, I had a lot of misplays, and one of the misplays is not knowing one of the sets. So yeah, I mean, I made loads of misplays this game myself, so it's like it's not hugely, I guess, representative of my skills. But I mean, like, regardless, it should have been much better played. And
yeah, this was not good. I think I can say that. You said you had some thoughts on turn 1, even, which is you stealth rocking versus the Masharna as I future sight.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't have led with Clado in the first place because you have a Masharna, and Masharna does work versus my team, so I should have led with something else that's not just like a Moonlight fodder for Masharna, essentially.
Yeah, like my thought process literally was, and what you'll see is, I'm just going to lead Masharna. None of his team like hard loses to it, but they all will just like kind of let me future sight and Moonlight and deal damage, and I'm literally just going to do as much as I can until I die. It turns out that actually worked pretty well.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it shouldn't have worked really well, but it did. And
yeah,
basically, what ends up happening is that my main win con this game was the Sylvally Fairy. It was the offensive Sylvally Fairy with SD and Flame Charge. So going into the game, I was thinking, okay, this matchup is kind of ass, but I can still do something with Sylvally Fairy. That was my one hook. So when Masharna comes in and starts clicking Future Sight, I'm thinking immediately, oh shit, what do I have to threaten this out? Kanga's not doing enough, Combusken's not doing enough, Quillfish is dying, Eel isn't pivoting because it's not fast, it's not slow enough. So it's essentially sack 2 thing, or sack 1 thing, and then bring in Silver Fairy, and then SD, and then sack that as well. So yeah, I basically lose my win con and something else as well.
Yeah.
In exchange for just the Mashan, which is really bad.
Yeah, pretty much. You lose Sylvally Fairy, Cladle's at 1%. You do get rocks into Dead Masharna, but it's definitely not an even trade. Like, I was super happy with this. Plus, I can go immediately to Sylvally Poison and defog on whatever you send in. It's not really useful this game. Like I'll want to keep it just in case you T-spike, but aside from that, like I literally just go with it. Oh, he has an eel. I'll just defog, I guess. In hindsight, maybe I should have Poison Fanged then defogged for more toxic damage, but I didn't know that if you were discharged, it's supposed to Volt Switch. So yeah, like that pretty much is all fine. I even save it as like you are T-spikes, so sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty safe to assume if there's a Combuskin and a Kangaskhan that the Quillfish is T-spiked.
For sure. But I'm just in a really good position right here. I can just kind of go Dodrio, go for kills. Your Kanga is walled by Ferroseed. Your Combuskin, I can remove T-spikes and check with Lantern. I kind of just have already so much leeway with this game. And Leafeon is already like almost about to win unless you double protect with Combuskin. Like, it's really scary versus your team because your check is double protecting.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, as I said, I didn't play this game far from well, and I think it started like just from a downwards trajectory from like turn 1, which is why I kind of, I guess, regret how I played this game. But yeah, what ended up happening is, I guess, Leafeon comes in and just wins the game. From like, yeah, I was talking about the not knowing the sets. Like, I thought maybe that you'd change the Dodrio to Choice Scarf. Maybe it's Choice Band still. I don't know. Don't really care. I'm just going to go into Quillfish and hope I tank or whatever and maybe get up more hazards. But he's just straight up 2 at KO it. So it's like, I guess that's dead.
I love Band Dodrio. It's really nice. But yeah, there was not a lot for you. The one thing I didn't love is that I went hard Lantern on Focus Blast, which turned out to be totally wrong. But like, if you subbed, it was the same thing anyway. So
yeah,
I could be perfectly content to just wall your team out, especially after I burn the Kangaskhan. But instead, I set up a Leafeon and win, and that's fine too. And I guess if there's one mitigating factor to like you not playing great, I really do think Leafeon like would have won this game if you didn't double protect. Almost no matter how you played, unless you somehow managed to like totally preserve Quillfish in this game, which just didn't seem that feasible.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. The Quillfish was mono schooled anyway, like in terms of attacks.
Yeah, okay. Leafeon is just spike. Yeah. It's just going to do so much work then that like I do feel like I had a solid advantage even without you just totally messing up the early game.
Yeah.
But then that just like pretty sealed this.
Honestly, yeah, my main thing with Leafeon was like I have Rindoberry, max special attack, Ice Beam, Claydol.
Oh, like, this was the Rindo Claydol. Okay.
Yeah, I used that for like I guess a safe, but not safe. A like soft Torterra check. So yeah, I could just come in no matter what on the Wood Hammer or the EQ or whatever, and click Ice Beam and then kill Torterra.
Right.
Which at least it takes the pressure off Combuskin a little bit in terms of checking it, which is quite nice. And Torterra doesn't get any safe switch-ins otherwise as well, so that's also cool. But yeah, so I think it was a pretty good tech to have. It's also a nice roll compression for a T-Spikes Buskin team, considering it runs both spin and SR.
Right.
So yeah, I didn't have as I could afford to run all of Combuskin, Kanga, and Sylvania Fairy without too much hassle defensively, which is I think it was quite a cool concept, and it worked well in tests. But again, like you just had I had major cock block in my brain, and then you had the major cock block on the battlefield as well. So it's like
and it's hard to be ready for everything. Like Bandodrio and Leafeon were just gonna be real good, and sometimes that just happens. Like the game 1 where you got a Specs Rotom and the T-Wave Silvally, and like sometimes things just don't go good. So I'm up 1-0 in the second set. Looking pretty nice, and this I'm not. This is where I think my teams definitely take a little bit of hit in quality because I only have so many, and I really wanted to try to use my own stuff for this. I don't think either of the teams I'm going to use are awful. It doesn't even super hamper me. Like the start of this game was really nice for me, even though the end game went downhill, but I don't think anything I use, like, I don't think this stuff is as good as the things I brought in my first 4 games. This is like a weird concept of a physical spam team for me, kind of, where I'm using Band Skunk plus Toxic Girder, plus the Volley, plus Rock's offensive Torterra, plus the Smash Costa in the back to like just kind of hit buttons and kill things with an AV Lantern to pivot as the last guy. Like it's that kind of a simple, no nonsense, generally decent synergy mons want to hit buttons.
Yeah, and mine is basically I lost complete composure from that fourth game. I was like, well, that was like one of the best teams that I built out of the teams that I spam built for you. So I was thinking, right, if that didn't work, I'm just gonna send it back to basics.
I'm still so mad you can spam build. I've been trying to build for my LTPL game for a while. Like, it's on Thursday. I haven't been able to come up with anything decent and just scrapping all my shit. And you're just like, yeah, I can spam build all this stuff out of thin air.
Yeah, I mean, for me at least, it's now so repetitive. Or PU is in a state where it's been static for a point where it's easy to just, or in my perspective, I know where all the compression or the key areas are to compress rolls. And yeah, so this is one of the teams that I built for LTPL for Miru. He ended up having a dreadful matchup with it,
right?
Because I think it was Rexus brought like a Specs Dramper, and he also brought the T-Wave Silvally that we saw earlier on. But it was Silvally Fairies.
Yeah.
But yeah, he brought that inspired that first game. But yeah, I still like this team a lot. Like, I feel like this is like one of the better ways to build around Ferroclef in the current meta. But yeah, the idea, I guess, is to Toxic Chip with Pharaoh and Clef, and then win with either TR Jettison, which is now reverted back to standard Ghostium, and the Kanga. So, yeah, back to basics for me, back to basics for you, and
I don't know. This is back to.
I
don't know. This is back to basics. Like this is. I want to like this team. It's just kind of awkward. You don't have any of the stuff that makes it super terrible, but yeah, I definitely in hindsight, like I just kind of wish I was able to get more like really good stuff to pull out here. But it, like especially the first little bit goes pretty nice, where I predict you're just gonna Draco, you're not gonna be Specs, I'll just get to Drain Punch and it'll be fun, and then I'm gonna Toxic the Jellicent coming in. I was super happy with this, especially like being up in the second set. I was like, oh man, this is looking fucking nice. Hey boy.
Yeah, this is like I was still carrying I think a bit of tilt from the first game, like with the Draco play and then the subsequent like Jettison play. I was just super mega ultra tilted by turn 2. I was just like, well, what the fuck is going on? So yeah, and then I just decided to play a bit more like I guess conservative, then just sort of like play more how Ferroclef is supposed to be played, rather than like spam play offensively with your Dram or whatever. Use things more conservatively, play with more long term thoughts. So yeah.
Yeah, like you immediately double out to Lantern. I mean, double out on the Lantern, get your Ferrocid in, you're going to start hazarding. I click EQ on the Toxic. A lot of people ask me, oh my god, why do, when I say a lot of people, one very specific person was like, oh my god, why you do that? It was such a dumb play, obviously. In hindsight. No hindsight. I figured you've seen a lot of Poison Valley from me, and you would probably immediately spike your Leech. And I also wanted to chip you and kind of get a sense of, is this more on the FizzDef side or the SpitF side? Especially since, like, I was like, okay, especially good case, if he like tries the Leech Seed, I get 2 Earthquakes off. I'll take the Toxic. I'll take my Tort getting Toxics. Because Caracosta is my late game win con, and it doesn't have superpower. So I need this Ferrocid dead. Also, Torterra is not FizzDef. It doesn't take 2 double edges from Kangaskhan. Toxic's not like that big of a deal. So, yeah. It was wrong, and I definitely, like, if I'd gotten hard Silvally, I would have been even better than I was, but I don't really regret this one. I made some plays I'm not happy with, especially we're going to do Stars game and untier talk after this, but yeah, no, I'm This just kind of seemed like a pretty average play here.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, for me, it was like I was in the full mindset of just playing super destructive with the Pharisee. Like I was just playing to do as much damage as possible. I had no really intention of predicting either the Silvally or anything basically of coming in. So yeah, that's why you see me stay in for the few turns with Gerda, because I knew you would think that I'd preserve it, but the reality was I was never going to preserve it. I was fully intent on just like sacking it off and playing offensively with the rest of my mons.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I almost do wish I traded Torterra for the Pharisee and just like hit Earthquake 5 times, got it super chipped and out of the way. That might have just been a straight up better plan. Instead, I guess I better hard out to my Silvally and defog away. Oh no, he leech seeded me, and now it's like a 50-50. I don't think he's going to stay in on Flamethrower, but he did. I'll go Girder. I don't think he'll stay in. Oh, he did? At least I got the knockoff, but now my Girder's really weak. Oh no. Like,
yeah.
I don't really think any of my plays were super wrong in that I did still get the knock. I did still get the hazards off. I was never really planning to preserve my Girder or Torterra for late game, like, that much, but that doesn't mean it still didn't end up bad and could have ended up better, and yeah, like...
And plus, when I saw your early game, right, and I knew you were going to be happy with how you played the early game, I knew that you weren't going to play, like, super risky and, like, overtly, like, risk things, whereas I had all to gain and nothing to lose, basically, at this point. Like, I was fully intent on just predicting every single move to the T, right? Knowing that Pharisee could potentially tank any one of the moves that you just said. So, yeah, I was fully intent on making every single play possible to get me back in a position where I could win this game.
Yeah, in my mind, this was still me being pretty safe and not...
Yeah.
While still, like, not letting you hazard a lot, so I'd be pretty okay. Like here, you get Clef back in, but you're not going to get a bunch of hazards, and I've knocked off both your Violet Mons, which is really nice. So in my mind, this was mostly like fine what happened. And I lose Gur and Silvally, but your defensive core is like super compromised. But I do get why, like, how do I put it? There are times where you make where you make a play, doesn't work out, and like, yeah, that was definitely a misplay. Here's why you could have done something much better. I don't really regret any of this. I don't think any of it was like super directly wrong. And I actually think if I just played like the later game better, it all would have worked out fine despite the 6-4 deficit by turn 14. But I also like do think, okay, ultimately it didn't end up working out.
Yeah, and yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that you had like a 2-month deficit, because to me at least, the game was still like super even because of how much chip you got on like basically everything.
For sure.
It still felt even though it was like 4-6.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go hard into the Lantern and Volt. This is one thing I didn't necessarily super love, but it ends up working out because you try to go Pharisee and no, I'm Banded Skunk and I'm just gonna 2 KO. Isn't that funny?
No, I was sacking.
You were what?
I was sacking Pharaoh. I had no intention of keeping it.
Oh, but then you did keep it and you sacked Drampa instead.
Did I?
I went Skunk on Drampa.
Oh, yeah.
I crunch. You told me after you didn't think I was banded. That's why, like, you thought you could get up a spike.
Yeah.
I was like, he'll think he can get up a spike, or I'll just kill Drampa and then 2 KO Pharisee. Either way, I need Pharisee dead. I need Pharisee dead because I have a Caracosta and I want it to win.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, never mind. I was, at the time I was thinking, I'm just going to switch Pharisee then, maybe get a spike, and then, whoa, looks, I can't, so I'll just sack Drampa instead, because it's not really doing anything, and Pharisee still has some utility.
Yeah, so you do get rocks, and this is something I do regret a little bit. I just EQ and let you soft boiled, and if I just hard wood hammered, it wouldn't have been a double down. That was a bit of a fuck up for sure. I just thought like maybe you'll even go Pharisee. And this is like a really hard position for me still. Like I've kind of got what I wanted, and I've kind of not at all, because I have to just be really perfect here. Such as in this case of Kangaskhan versus Caracosta, The whole game really rests on this turn right here, turn 23 after this. Um, if I kill your Kangaskhan with Caracosta, I win because Lantern wins. But if you don't die and I don't smash and you like just get to go hard out, then you're kind of gonna win because I just can't really cover your threats. And it's really like, do I kill you as you earthquake me, or do I smash as you earthquake me, or like, yeah, I'm not okay. What I'm trying to say is you can either EQ or switch, and I can either smash or kill you with a Z move. And I decide I really, really think you're gonna switch. I think you think I'm gonna directly attack. I try to make a big boy play, and I smash as you EQ me. And this is just a death sentence. Because now you can switch out, Caracosta is not sweeping, and Kangaskhan is going to win the late game. In hindsight, this wasn't so much a 50-50 as I definitely should have killed you and I think I would have just won. I didn't have if I had just Z-moved, I still would have been in the game. Even if you sacked Ferroseed as I Z-moved and then went Rotom, I still would have had a chance if I played really well. At this point, because I got it wrong, I don't have a chance at all. And that's like why it was a skewed risk reward, and this is really like the play I'm absolutely least happy with out of the entire set. Is like, I should have just Z-moved. I should have just won here. That was bad.
Yeah, and for me at least, it was like sort of. I was also looking to win with Kanga, but I had to keep up pressure on the Caracosta. I couldn't afford to just let you smash for free and then go Ferroseed and then just sort of sack it, and then you have potentially get another smash opportunity. I had to play offensive and get the EQ off. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was more about like trying to like sort of keep things away from the bay.
I don't think you were wrong. Like, for you, it's more of a classical 50-50 in that if you get the play wrong, you're kind of going to just lose. But for me, like, if I get it wrong in one way, I just lose. And in the other way, maybe I have a little bit of a shot. Even though I wasted my Z move, so I can no longer Oko Kangaskhan, from after another round of rocks, I can't kill you. But, like, maybe I can still pull something off because I still have Caracosta to do some damage. But no, like, I did do the thing. And this is pretty much going to be the game. I don't even have Sucker Skuntank, so it's definitely not going to be able to stop, like, the Rotom or the Kangaskhan or anything. And at this point, I'm pretty much toast. Like, all you have to do, sack Ferroseed, go Rotom. I try to switch. It doesn't matter. This game is over. All you do is sack Jellicent, win with Kangaskhan. Yeah, like, there's nothing here. I try to maybe, like, sack Lantern and go Skunk or something. It's irrelevant. So yeah, I didn't like this. I didn't like this at all.
Yeah. I think this game more so is like a philosophical game rather than like we both played really well. Somebody came out. It's more like you can take a lot of philosophical lessons out of it. Like, really pay attention to your win cons. Like, do you need to smash? Do you really need to smash? Because a lot of people feel pressured as soon as they have Shell Smash because it's such a good, like, to pressure it or to use it. The reality is that you really just didn't need to use it. Like, you could have just Z-moved and just be absolutely fine. The end game. So it's like, really, really, like, understand what your win conditions are. And even from my perspective, like, you can take a few lessons from the team that I used. Like, down 0-1 in the second series, it could have been very easy for me to bring, like, another team that I built that was maybe a bit weaker defensively. But, you know, I always tell this to people when they play a new tier or they
not
play
now.
a tier, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
You need to have a team that, let's say you're going to play your last game of Pokemon ever, and it's like the Shadow Realm battle, right? You either get banished to the Shadow Realm or you win this game of Pokemon. You need to have a team that you'd be comfortable bringing to that game. And Ferroclef and Kanga was definitely that for me. Like, that's been my crutch all gen. Crutch quotation marks because I have used different stuff, but it's been like a playing crutch for me. And I can still play not that great, but still give myself a reasonable shot at an endgame, which, you know, that speaks volumes of how comfortable I am with that style of team. Yeah, so that's why I ended up bringing it. I think that's why I ended up winning this game.
For sure. For sure. So I think also it's pretty interesting how a lot of these different games mirror themselves. This is the game where, like, I'm really unhappy with the dumb late game thing I do end up costing me. Game 2 was where you were really unhappy with the dumb late game thing you did that ended up costing you with the Driftlin play. The first game was where you kind of had, like, this crazy matchup, and I also, like, just, like, really struggled, and that was kind of it, and it was over, and there were some fuck-ups. And the fourth game with the Leafeon was where you, like, kind of had a bad matchup, then crazy struggled with some fuck-ups. Then there's the third game, the Hail game, where, like, I get a really big rock side miss that kind of just ends what could have been an even pretty interesting game, like, just kind of cuts it off. And there's the sixth game, which is basically you're going to get some very early, really good shit, and that just means that nothing happens. That's my perspective on this game.
This game was super unfortunate.
Yeah. Sure. Like, I bring this team that I've used it, I think, once before versus Teddy, or maybe I've used it some other time. I don't know. It is another really weird offense spam team. Like, oddball, odd shit like the last team that I still kind of wanted to try, because at this point both of us take like a 5-minute break. We don't really have a last team for this. I think you're probably going to default to another defensive team, and I can just kind of spam these really strong Mons with the Z Pinsir and the SD Dodrio and the Nasty Plot Raichu, and I can just kind of like brute force my way through. I was going to try to make a call out on what you were going to bring, and instead I'm facing Hail, which is not at all what I expected, but I was like, maybe this can work. Maybe. It's awkward, but like I have just enough to be able to trade with your fast ice types, like the Scarf Obama and the double Slush Rush. Like, maybe. The problem is, I need everything to go absolutely perfectly. There can't be like a really problem roll, or a miss, or a crit, or anything like that, because your threat level is just higher like that. Like, your Hail Sweepers are just going to be a problem that I have to, like, be perfect to mitigate. Absolutely. And this is Pokemon. That's always a bad situation to be in, and it doesn't work out here. It rarely does, and that's, like, that does speak to the matchup. I don't think the matchup was inherently unwinnable, but really was a kind of situation where anything would have immediately put me out of it, because, yeah, you're in a pretty solid spot.
Yeah, for me at least, I think even if the game had gone, as you said, even if the game had gone evenly, I still think I was in an advantageous position. But
yeah, for sure. I'm not saying I definitely would have won. I'm saying for me to have a chance of like playing it out and being even, everything had to, like, that's what it means. Not to win, but to have like a chance of playing like a regular game.
Yeah, exactly. And I think so to just go back a little bit to why I chose this team. Like, I thought you would definitely try to bring a random threat. Like, definitely, like 100% definitely would try to bring something that would bone like my balance, or like a standard semi-stall, or whatever I would try to bring, right? Even the stall. So I knew of that, and I thought, so I was looking through my build, anti-offense styles of teams that I'd built in the past, and things that I could use that were generally good versus offense, and I was just looking through teams, and I was looking, like, going through them in my head and saying, no, Hail? And I was like, for a second, like, this it? And I looked through the rest of the teams, and I found nothing else that was any good, and I was like, okay, this is it then. So I updated the sets, like, the Lantern was still Dazzling Gleam from Guz Meta, so I updated all the sets. The Lantern is now correctly Ice Beam, and all the sets are back to what they should be. And yeah, and I managed to catch all 4 of the random threats that I thought you might be bringing. Like, you could have brought any one of these threats, and they would have been decent versus my balance team, and you brought 4 of them.
Yeah, this team is literally like, I built it as a funny, just like offense spam the dumb shit. I think I first broke it out versus Teddy and stuff, and like that. This is just, hey, let me hit some things.
Yeah, I think, yeah, exactly. And I was just like, I was super aware of that. I didn't want to play. I don't think I was in the mental state even to play a game where I was like constantly on the back foot. I think I needed a game where I was like
at least being the aggressor,
Yeah,
much to like the first game and the earlier games in the series, rather than the later games where you were sort of the aggressor and I was sort of losing composure a little bit. So I
for,
knew I
for
had to be
sure.
on the front foot this game.
Yeah, and like I
That's
said
why I like
earlier,
this team.
I do kind of regret committing to something like this. Um, like, yeah, maybe it could have worked. Maybe if everything went well. But in hindsight, even then, I didn't love putting myself in this position. I probably should have like emergency hit up specs or maybe gone through and updated something like you did really quick or something. Didn't necessarily love being like, yeah, I think I know what HJAD is going to bring. Because this team is definitely like on the iffier side. It's weird. It's got no Scarfer. It's got two 110 speed Mons, but not much priority. Like just the Dojiro quick attack and no Scarfer. So it's definitely awkward. But really, I thought I was kind of fucked turn one, to be completely honest. Because turn one, you lead with the Auroras. I lead with Lantern. This is Icy Rock Auroras, right? Yeah, it's Icy Rock Auroras. We see the hail. I'm like, okay, this is good. He's definitely going to want to rock, seeing what I've got. I'm just going to Oko him because I'm Specs Lantern. But this team doesn't have Scald, only Hydro Pump. I have to hit a Hydro Pump. If I don't hit it, that's really bad. He got rocks for free. He can either chip Lantern to go out to his Lantern. He has the extra hail setters, as opposed to me getting to like pressure that Abomasnow needing to come in later. It is really not good. I have to hit this, and I don't. And that's immediately like, fuck. What even does one do?
Yeah, I mean, it was just that was if any kid like I was thinking, okay, basically what I do is I get up stealth rock to score. I assumed that you were like
AV.
assault vest.
Yeah, I didn't. I
res.
assumed you just figured you wouldn't die. So I'm like, great, this is perfect. Even if you had died, like you still would have 100% been in the game, and like Scarf Abomasnow would have immediately gotten a kill. So it's not like it's that bad for you. But on the other hand, me not getting it is like, holy fuck.
Yeah, that was definitely like it basically turned whatever chance that you had, which was like let's say 75-25 into like 95-5. Like it severely cut your chances of winning the game down.
It is what it is. Like I said, it's a really risky team and a hard, high-pressure matchup, and it's Mons, and this is going to happen when you're in that situation. You don't want to... The solution is not to be there in the first place, and I've managed to hit the definition button twice, if you're wondering what the pop-ups are. That's Safari showing the definition of the word play as I try to hit the play button, because technology is really cool. Anyway, not a lot else happens, except a little later there's another thing that even further just totally wrecks my chances. It's mostly you just like hitting the smart, sensible buttons and winning. But there will be a brief moment. So I end up like deciding, okay, let's trade a bit to weaken you for Raichu. Then I'll go Torterra and sack it for Stealth Rock. Originally, I was like, okay, it's pretty cool that my Yachi Berry Torterra can trade with the Hail Sweeper if they're not boosted with Swords Dance. But like, that's clearly not going to work now. Like in a game where we're going even, and I can trade Torterra for a Hail Sweeper, it's really useful. But now it's like not useful. So, but yeah, this is the point where I go Silvally Fairy. You're gonna go Beartic, and I'm like, this is actually not terrible because I can live because Hail's gonna run out. I can Swords Dance, and then I can kill you, and odds are noticeably in my favor to live Icicle Crash into Aqua Jet. And that'll at least force you to fodder either Aurorus, Abomasnow, or Sableye to get rid of my Silvally. So I'll have removed another Hailmon, and maybe things will be going a little better. It's still really bad. Like at this point, Alolan Sandslash like basically wins unless I can pull something out of my ass. But like maybe ? And then you get the rolls, and it's like, nope, I'm super dead because Icicle Crash max rolled. It's not that big of a deal because really Alolan Sandslash was just going to win regardless, but it's definitely an even further like no chance.
So yeah, the main reason that I brought Bet again, even though like I sort of knew that the Silvally could technically like beat it.
Well, all you need to do is trade and then win with Alola Slash anyway.
Exactly, yeah. That was the whole
like
thing.
I had to do something wacky with getting the pincer around the slash, and maybe, probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
I
Honestly, when I was
don't
playing this
regret
game-
that role much.
Yeah, honestly, when I was playing this game, I was playing more around like a Scarf Raichu or a Scarf Dodrio, because remember that I don't really know the sets.
Right.
So I was playing, okay, it's probably either Scarf Raichu or Scarf Dodrio, which has really good speed tier on Hail, because you still outspeed the Alola Slash even under Hail. So that's why I kept Sableye for as long as I did, because I didn't want to open myself up to Dodrio or
For sure.
potentially like Scarf Pinsir.
My game plan, if Silvally did its thing, is like, okay, I'll go Dodrio on the Slash once it's in, bluff Scarf, try to Brave Bird on the Sableye switch into like the Scarf jump kick, and sack Dodrio as like you burn me, and then maybe Pinsir can do the Z-me first, and maybe that will win. And that's a lot of maybe. That's like that was literally the only plan I had to win. And yeah, but it doesn't matter at this point. This game be done. You just have to sack Abomasnow to get Hail up again, and either of your Mons will do the thing. So not a good end, but the end we had, and that is Pokemon. And yeah, I don't super regret it. This was a fun set that was cool. Silly ending, but that sometimes happens.
Yeah. I personally like the story behind it is so like encapsulating, where it's sort of like we do a podcast together and then we play in the grand finals of a series. That in itself is crazy. Like I would never have expected to play any like grand finals or anything that we can like commentate from two different perspectives, like two different grand finalist perspectives at least. So yeah, that was cool in itself. And then to have the series go to 6, like the last game, all using different teams. Every team was different. Like we didn't reuse any teams the entire series, which I thought was quite cool.
Man, I should have reused the Leafeon team. Actually, no, that would have been a really bad matchup. That's the really ice week.
That's why I also picked this, because I figured you might want to reuse one of the other teams. So I was like, this doesn't have that bad a matchup versus anything. I'll just bring it.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Yeah. This is super cool. Like to put in perspective, we've been pushing for shorter untier talks because they're really just like getting to us. But we're willing to just be recording for over an hour and a half now, just on this like side thing, because this was really fucking cool.
Yeah, and it probably won't ever happen again as well. Like 2 people at the same time playing at like the highest level, you know, getting to the grand finals and then playing each other in a 6-game series. That's not going to happen.
See me in Circuit. Are we on opposite sides of Circuit? I don't actually know.
Yo, imagine we play each other for Circuit finals. That'd be crazy.
We almost did last time.
For the ribbon.
You lost to Katut.
Yeah.
That was such a dumb set. Katut, actually. That was such a dumb set. That wasn't even him lucking you. That was just a really stupid set, by the way. I realized that could be misinterpreted. Let me see. I know Tone pinned this. So for HJAD winning seasonal, you're 2nd seed. I'm 9th seed. So that does put us on different side of the bracket. It is technically possible. Yeah, because first seed, first plays 16, and then after that they play the 8 versus 9.
Interesting.
So yeah, we it could happen in seasonal playoffs. I don't expect it. I don't think I'm gonna make finals again.
Well, yeah. Now we've just given everybody every piece of information about each other. So if either of us makes grand finals, that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, like I used all my shit for this set because just making playoffs was really what I was happy with. I don't expect to do well. I've used all my stuff. My building is really struggling right now. But if it happens, oh boy.
Yeah, I might just reinvent myself completely for playoffs and just bring the like most random stuff that I can bring. Like, but yeah, I mean, it's we've given everybody so much information on each other. Like, it's gonna take a miracle for either of us to make it that far, or a lot of misplays and luck, which can happen.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning into just like this special seasonal thing. I hope you found it interesting. This is just like not such a big set with perspectives that you don't normally get. I hope we managed to do it justice. I don't know that we did, but maybe. And if you stuck around this long, just because like you're interested enough in this kind of thing for an hour and a half of us, then more power to you. All right. All right. We'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up here.
Really quickly.
Yeah.
The untier talk was the entire set. The entire set was the untier talk. Not the untier talk. The gimmick corner.
Oh yeah. Well, no, this isn't really an untier talk. But yeah, okay. If you wanted a gimmick corner,
right.
You've got what did we use? We used some. There was the Specs Rotom. That was cool. The T-Wave Silvally. We had your Wigglytuff, Figgy Berry Wigglytuff, and my Subtoxic Lapras. I also had some funky sets on the team I used in the very first game that I've used a couple times and they still haven't been revealed, just because they don't end up needing to happen. Yeah, I think those were the only like major gimmicks. All right, well, yeah, okay. Shutting this video down. See you guys. Thanks for watching, etc.